I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran, speaking on behalf of the Non-Aligned movement.
Good morning. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I have the pleasure to address the General Assembly today on behalf of the 120 members of the United Nations that are members of the non-aligned movements. I would like to take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to His Excellency Mr. Rodrigo Parilla, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cuba, and to express to him and the people of Cuba the movement's full support and solidarity. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend our deep condolences to the governments and people of all countries affected by the Hurricane Sandy for the tragic loss of life and the devastation it provoked. Mr. President, the non-aligned movement, as it has done so on many previous occasions, unequivocally rejects such blatant violations of multilateralism which run counter to the principles of the United Nations Charter and the norms of international law. The movement has also reaffirmed its steadfast commitment to ensure the continued viability of all the provisions of international law which, together from the core of our international multilateral work, and inspire our collective efforts to maintain peace and security, achieve inclusive economic growth and sustainable development, and ensure full respect for human rights and fundamental freedom. At the 16th Summit of NAM, held in Tehran, Islamic Republic of Iran, from 26 to 31st of August 2012, the heads of state or government of the non-aligned movement reiterated their call to the government of the United States of America to put an end to the economic, commercial, and financial embargo against Cuba, which, in addition to being unilateral and contrary to the United Nations Charter and international law, and to the principle of neighborliness, is causing huge material losses and economic damage to the people of Cuba. They once again urged strict compliance with resolutions 47/19, 48/16, 49/9, 50/10, 51/17, 52/10, 53/4, 54/21, 55/20, 56/9, 57/11, 58/7, 59/11, 60/12, 69/11, 61/11, 62/3, 63/7, 64/6, 65/6, and 66/6 of the United Nations General Assembly. They expressed deep concern over the widening of the extraterritorial nature of the embargo against Cuba and rejected the reinforcement of the measures adopted by the government of the United States aimed at tightening the embargo, as well as the other other recent measures carried out by the government of the United States against the people of Cuba. They reiterated that those measures constitute a violation of Cuba's sovereignty and a massive violation of the human rights of its people. For the past 2 decades, an overwhelming number of the state members of the United Nations have voted in favor of the resolution calling for the lifting of the United States embargo against Cuba. Each year, we have made it clear that the blockade is not only in violation of international law, but it is also counter to the purpose and principles of the United Nations set forth in its charter, of which the United States of America is itself a founding signatory. The embargo violates Cuba's right to do business with the rest of the international community and, in the process, frustrates the country's efforts to achieve the internationally agreed development goals, including the Millennium Development Goals. The embargo has caused and continues to cause a high degree of adverse impact on the well-being of the people of Cuba. The direct and indirect damage caused by the embargo against Cuba are enormous. They affect all crucial sectors of the economy, including those most vital for the well-being of the Cuban people themselves, such as public health, nutrition, and agriculture, as well as banking, trade, investment, and tourism. We salute the Cubans for what they have achieved so far, including the significant progress in areas of education and healthcare, despite the huge difficulties they encounter. Yet we stress once again that the imposed embargo continues to impair the socio-economic advance and creates unnecessary economic hardship. It is clear that the embargo denies Cuba access to markets, development aid from international financial institutions, and technology transfers, which are all important for the development of Cuban economy and for the well-being and advancement of its people. The United States administration has in the past claimed that it would reach out to the Cuban people and engage with them. Yet those words have regrettably not been translated into concrete actions. The punitive measures imposed against the whole Cuban nation persist, and with them the ending suffering of its brave people. Moreover, the unilateral blockade has an extended negative effect on companies and citizens from third countries, thereby violating their sovereign rights. The Non-Allied movement reiterates its deep concern at the harmful impact on other countries of widening the extraterritorial nature of the embargo, which we consider an added argument in favor of the prompt elimination of those unfunded sanctions. We recall the last year, 186 member states voted in favor of the resolution 66/6. That number represented a large majority of the international community demanding the end to the 5 decades-old embargo and to fully adhere to the principles of mutual respect and non-interference in the internal affairs of Cuba. The Non-Aligned movement believes that the continuation of the embargo is unjustifiable and runs counter to Cuba's effort to achieve sustainable development. The Non-Aligned movement once again urges the United States of America to immediately and fully comply with all General Assembly resolutions, calling for an immediate end to the economic, commercial, and financial embargo imposed against Cuba and once and for all to yield to the will of the overwhelming majority of the international community, which will today vote in favor of the draft resolution on the necessity of ending the embargo against Cuba, thereby enable the valiant people of Cuba to fully prosper and enjoy their sovereignty, independence, and right to self-determination. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran, speaking on behalf of the Non-Aligned movement.